Welcome back, cruisers, to All Aboard with Joe. Today we are diving into all the specialty restaurants on Holland America Line's Koningsdam ship, and I'm really excited to get this out here because I had a fantastic cruise with them in Alaska, and I got to try every single one of the specialty dining restaurants. Now, this is actually my second time on Koningsdam, and luckily I've been able to try these restaurants a few times, so I was really able to give a proper review because you can't really just try a restaurant once because sometimes some things can go really good or really bad. And I feel like having twice on my belt makes a little more of a fair assessment of what I experienced. So without further ado, here is my specialty dining reviews going from 1 to 6 in ranking from my least favorite to my favorite. Starting off our list in number 6 is sadly Canaletto. Now, here's the deal, guys. I'm an Italian fan. I'm actually Italian. My wife's Italian. Unfortunately, this place just didn't hit the mark. Now, if you're familiar with the cruise ship, specifically the Koningsdam, you would know that Canaletto is located in the Lido market. So basically, at night, it's turned into the Italian restaurant. I don't really like the venue personally. It just doesn't seem very intimate, especially for an Italian restaurant. And honestly, what bummed me out was I arrived there dining solo, and I was the first one there. Apparently, I was the first one at dinner with the reservation, and there was no one that showed up in the dining room until like 30 minutes later. So it was just kind of awkward dining in there alone. And honestly, the food was just okay. I mean, the pasta was cooked okay and the meatballs were okay. Just in the end, I just wasn't super impressed with it. And I don't think I will be dining there again, especially since this is probably my least favorite of all the specialty dining restaurants. Coming in at number 5 is Pinnacle Grill, which is honestly a fantastic steakhouse. Now, you think coming in at number 5, I might have had some issues with the food. Truly, I didn't. And honestly, I've never had a bad steak there, specifically cooked incorrectly, because that's really all I hope for at a steakhouse. They have a plethora of sides to choose from. And if you're not a steak fan, or maybe you're just not craving steak the day you're dining with your friends or family, don't worry. There are plenty of other options. There's seafood, there's salads, there's other options there. And honestly, I think Pinnacle has some of the best desserts at sea, specifically on Holland America Line. So definitely stay for the dessert. Coming in at number 4 is Tamarind. Now, I am a sucker for Asian food. It's one of my favorite cuisines, so it's no surprise that I would love tamarind. The dishes are inspired by Southeast Asia, China, and Japan, and they're bursting with flavor, beautifully presented, just all around amazing. Now, I should make a note that I would eat at Tamarind multiple times in a sailing. However, the reason I don't is because there are actually 2 other restaurants that appear in Tamarind, which we'll get into next. Coming in at number 3 is Rudys Sel de Mer, which is a French restaurant. The seafood, specifically at Rudys Sel de Mer, is fantastic. I'm a big fan of their presentations, very intimate atmosphere, and overall the service is awesome. The French-inspired dishes were rich and flavorful, making this a standout meal. I highly recommend, if you're going to go to Rudy's, try not to go solo because the dishes are so shareable and you want to try multiple dishes. So trust me, you want at least 1, 2, 3 other people with you if you're sailing with them. Remember I said moments ago that I would dine at Tamarind multiple times in my sailing if I had the chance? Well, coming in at number 2 is Nami Sushi, and it is located inside of the Tamarind restaurant. Now, depending on which Pinnacle Class ship you're on, for example, I was on Koningsdam, once you walk into Tamarind, in the far right, you're going to see a sushi bar. Now, there are sushi tables as well. So if you want to sit at the table, you don't have to sit at the sushi bar. I personally like sitting at the sushi bar, especially when I'm traveling solo. Personally, I always find it fun to talk with the sushi chefs and kind of get along, a little banter back and forth. So it's just fun to watch them work. I should note that it is a la carte, so you are not paying a fee up front like you are in other specialty restaurants. You are paying for a piece of sushi, piece of sashimi, or appetizer, etc. You're paying it separately, so there's no one-time fee. But the prices are very reasonable. You don't really walk out of there spending a lot of money and you feel like you ate a lot of food. Finally, coming in at number 1 is Morimoto by Sea. Now, this specialty restaurant only happens once per cruise, and it happens in either the Tamarind restaurant or Pinnacle, depending on which ship you're on. In this case, it happened in Tamarind. They take over the entire restaurant for the evening, and that is the menu, is Morimoto by Sea. Now, I don't know about you, but I am a huge fan of Iron Chef Morimoto. I had very high expectations when I went in, and I was not disappointed. The dishes are beautifully presented with unique flavors, making this the best dining experience on the Koningsdam for me personally. Now, I said this earlier that I love Asian food, just Asian food in general, and I'm not surprised that 3 of my pretty much favorite experiences on board was Tamarind, Nami Sushi, and my favorite Morimoto by Sea. I highly recommend you trying Morimoto if you are a fan of Asian food. They have some really fun dishes that I just thought were super tasty. Well, friends, that is the end of this video. I hope you liked it. I just want to put a little note out there that I didn't hate any of the restaurants, even though Canaletto was my least favorite. It still was a good experience. And I should make a note that had I maybe had company and maybe I ate slower because I actually had conversation back and forth and I shared a couple appetizers, maybe I would have liked it more than I did. The truth is, I love Italian food and I just thought it was mediocre at best, but it doesn't mean that it was bad. I actually enjoyed every meal I had. It's just others were far and away better. So there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed that. But I do want to know from you if you've ever dined at Holland America Line and you have a favorite restaurant, leave it in the comments below so other people can share their opinions and see what you have to say. So that's always a fun thing. The one thing too I want to leave you guys with is I'm sure I'm going to get the question is how much do these specialty dining options cost? The reason I didn't leave that in the video was I originally was going to, but it was simply because I feel like the cruise ships change week to week, month to month. And I feel like if you watch this video 6 months from now, which is, chances are you might, the prices might be different. And I feel like it'd be silly for me to say, oh, it costs $40 and now it's $60. You know what I mean? I didn't really want to have you guys have these expectations going into booking something and finding out the price was dramatically different. Because still, I'm going to book these restaurants, whether they go up in price or down in price, because I genuinely like them and I think that they're good quality restaurants. So I didn't really want to leave that in here and then you guys have different prices. All of that being said, I want to thank you guys for subscribing. It really means a lot to me, especially because it's such a new channel. And I will see you next video. Peace.